The next part is that fetus in the womb. That is one of the all-encompassing teaching. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. That's our commonality amongst everything. Fetus and a womb. Contemplate that. That is where the law of one comes in, reminds us that each and every one comes from the same universal source. There is an astral world that is a non-agenda based fourth density and fifth density out there. When we come into a frequency of life, part of our soul is here on an agenda. And the separation we are experiencing is the challenge that we, the I am, in the technology have to go and make a bridge that gets between the great the valley below, so we can get to the other side of the unlimited point of view. And as third density I am selves, when we make it our mission each and every day to expand and explore the unlimited point of view by identifying our limitations, especially knowing when we are personally arguing for our limitations. When you know when you're arguing for your limitation and you let it slide by, you're doing some of the greatest damage to yourself. The fetus in the mother's womb, it is a teaching that helps you get back to your original dream source, to that original dream stream of you that came into the fetus, that 2 cells, 4 cells of separation. There is where you can begin a companionship with the original dreaming being that is you, through guided meditation, the heart meditation, and all the different ones that are coming up that use the fetus in the mother's womb as colloquial now terminology to trigger your placebo powers. We live in a placebo-based reality. When we learn to advance our reality, we can advance our ability to connect to dream space, the great I am dream space of lucidity. So many people come to me with dreams of flying or swimming or traveling the stars or living in other previous times. When we have those intense dreams, they mean something. They challenge us to really look what they are. When we learn to advance our dream through the fetus, we are able to find out why we have an agenda-based side to that memory of that dream that has lasted to that moment of you going, what is it about? Taking up the challenge of advancing lucidity is one of those things that is going to be learned and learned and relearned over and over again. And it'll be about refining your sacred discipline so that you can target just before you go to sleep with your guided, intended, direct prayer as you sleep. Go through the sleep paralysis process into full REM, full control with the I am lucidity until the moment that the sleep paralysis wears off and you are beginning to awaken, and all of those memories are still connected to the original prayer being who was going to sleep. And that first 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, first 30 minutes of your morning are yours before the system can engage Roman numeral time to you. Adhering to those basic fundamentals will put you light years behind any other esoteric practitioner out there right now. Letting go of Roman numeral time when you wake up. Making that your personal sacred discipline and a way to give the great middle finger to the system, saying, I am number one. I am the apex of my reality. I refuse Roman numeral time when I wake up in the morning until such a time that I engage it in my sacred bubble of reality with my rules, boundaries, and borders enforced. That is living the mystical life daily. And that is the opportunity and the challenge within the opportunity. To create and co-create your own sacred path for your own sacred purpose with the teachings embedded and placed in the fetus in the womb all the way until to the moment that you are now, because time is not a constant anymore. When one learns through the fetus in the womb process that time isn't a constant, they can find the most damaged times of their life and connect to that being, not just the fetus. By advancing the dream to go to the fetus means everything in between is much easier to get. It's the wholeness of the expression. So if you were depressed when you were 13, brokenhearted when you were 19, redoing your life when you were 55, all of those moments you can go back and find the most harshest times you were in and speak to that person like they were the fetus in your womb, because they are no different. No different. It'll be a choice for you to engage that sacred discipline, to use the teaching of the fetus in the womb, to use the alchemy of creation, to use manifesting the will, to understand the placebo-based reality that you're in, so you can go to the next level and retain what you've learned so you can thrive to the unlimited levels in an unlimited point of view. This is a shamanic recipe for advancing one's consciousness. Now, a lot of people say, I don't have the time to do this. I don't have the space. I doubt myself. The flow of information is too fast. Each and one of those things is ultimately arguing for your limitation. At what point will you give yourself time? At what point will you believe in yourself? At what point will the information not be too much for you? Create different sets of choice points within inside your arguing of limitations. Change your point of view. So if there is no sacred space for you to do it in, why are you there? Write down in your notebooks. Allow the juxtaposition of your own position to teach you how to get out of it or how to understand to work within it. Doubt. The first seed of doubt that comes in, people are lost. Taking the old proverbial Roundup, Monsanto Roundup, right to doubt, the seed of doubt, so it doesn't come back up. That will be you targeting in your own memories from the know thyself process by choosing to make ceremony of recreating your life story. One of the greatest teachings out there is know thyself. Recounting your own life story in a ceremonial format that you call your personal ceremony of victories, where you show through the joy of yourself the great victories you've gone through by presenting in your out loud name it to claim it format. That is what living the mystical life daily is. That allows our voice, which is sound, and sound is just light in another form, that can transmit directly through the brain and make memories that are experiences that become mystical. Just like those dreams that have been in you since you were 6, or that mystical experience you had in 1966. All of those expressions are here in the now if you should choose to co-create with the mystical at the next level. Co-creation with the mystical at the next level requires discernment. This is another age-old teaching. The hardest work is the self-work. And this is where the first big teaching of discernment exists. How much self-work is enough self-work, and how much self-work is being lazy and not admitting it to oneself. How much self-work in discernment is one going to do when they're saying, I have no space, I have no time, and I doubt in myself? At what layer and level will one use their own discernment on their own instantaneous answers to whatever's presented to them? That is a challenge and an opportunity to live the mystical life daily. It is an open source, choiced, point-based, name it to claim it, border and boundary system of direct manifestation of your will through the knowledge and wisdom of expansion of knowledge and contraction of knowledge, based off of what you've learned in the past to what you've learned into the now and what you've dreamed up in the future as all potentials within you, because you know thyself. You have taken the time to say, I am this person who did go through these victories, who did go through these moments of self-defeat, but have learned and relearned and manifested through my alchemy of creation, my story in a written format or song or art format that says I manifested this, to say I went through these victories. That is ancient as ancient as ancient. Since the dawn of consciousness in itself, people have manifested things to show themselves the victory. These are our legacies we leave for our future selves and our future generations. There are many who want to take the legacy to the next level and assist our entire species at the transition. This is the next thing Living the Mystical Life Daily offers you. The discernment of what layer and level that you want to operate in, where you feel comfortable in, because it is your choice to manifest in your bubble reality. If you wish to have guides, guardians, and angels that are protectors and armor creators, then they will be there. If you wish galactic and universal council, they will be there too. But at each level that you want to create at, you must understand the level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. If you are working at the Galactic and Universal Council level, then you are going to be challenged each and every day. How much sacred work have you done? How clear is your field? How much spiritual hygiene have you done? Equal to your level of awareness. When you are working at those highest layers, you must be impeccable with your spiritual hygiene. But who's the one that is internally going through the checks and balances? Did I actually follow through? We all must have those internal checks and balances so we can understand the different scales that we are working on.
So you want me to do a reading for you now?
Yes, please.
I need you to tell me the first 10 minutes of your day, combine that into 40 seconds. I need you to do it out loud and be as descriptive as possible in that 40 seconds.
Okay. When I wake up, I kind of lay there for a while. It could be anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour, and just kind of wake up. And then when I get up, I go grab some cereal, then take my meds and watch a little bit of, well, sometimes I watch TV, but usually I just get up and eat my cereal and take my medicine, and then just whatever presents itself in the day.
I've tuned into your energies. And the first energy that's coming from your east direction, this is the rise and fall of the patterns of the seasons and the movement of the stars and the solar patterns that's going on in you. The first thing is what's known as the ritual purification of life. There are phases in your life that you went through that no longer apply to the adult you that's now that must walk into the future with free will. And the first thing that I come up with is at an early age, you were stuck between the arguments of your mother, your father, and somebody else that was close to the family. And this is like business arguments. You know what I'm talking about there?
I have some ideas. I don't know if that would be it or not.
As a kid, did you ever experience shouting matches?
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is that concept. And this energy right there is absolutely affecting you. When I see this on this effect on children, I call it psychic vomit. And this psychic vomit has hardened on your outer aura. And you need to go through a ritual purification process to get it off. And once you do, the free-willed inner child of you is going to be able to expand and explore the present you. This argument energy that severely affected your psychic growth at that time, because you're an extremely empathic person. The emotions of others color you. And at times the coloring can get so powerful, it can outweigh some of your need for free-willed exploration. So the process here is about you quite literally bringing more water elemental energy into your life. You're going to need this phase where you need to go swimming, quite literally. Go find a waterfall and sit under it. Take more showers each day. You need to double the amount of water-based element energy into you to get this hardened psychic vomit off of you. And by doing that, you're going to open up this healing process for yourself, because only we can trigger the healing process. We've all heard people say, no one changes until you want to change yourself.
Right.
This is your opportunity to free will say, I am going to change. And that change is say, I'm going to begin to let go of the empathic energy I took in from my parents when I was a kid, and I'm going to recycle that vomit energy so it is no longer a part of my aura or my inner body. And as you recycle it, that energy will turn into purified energy and allow you to go through this new state of wisdom and gratitude. And how to do it, that's the key right here. It's your free will of how you change yourself. It's always. I'm giving you compass direction headings into the purification process. If you've listened to the show, you hear me talk about sea salt, silver, and sage inside a little plastic bag. Have you heard that before?
No.
Basically what you do is get a little Ziploc bag, put a cup of sea salt in it, a single crystal, a little bit of sage, and a silver dime or anything that's silver, and then you're going to put that over your tailbone. Your tailbone is what creates the energy field of your aura, and it is also what cycles through the vomit, the stuff that's stuck in an empathic nature on your outer aura that you're rejecting from your inner side, which creates the callous boundary of free will. With that, your free will can't extend beyond that hardened, crusty psychic vomit. And that's what you're beginning to recycle. And the salt, the silver, and the sage will begin to the recycling process. I'll liken it. Have you ever had to sand a rusty car and put Bondo over it?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Sometimes if you don't do it right, the rust pops through the Bondo. That's the state you're at right now. You've cleared it off before just by growing up, but now there's rust spots that are starting to show through your old Bondo spots. So you got to get in there, and sometimes you have to use 80 grit or 60 grit sandpaper and get down to the bare metal, and then cover the bare metal up before it rusts again. That's the metaphorical process of what you're going to be doing to get rid of this hardened, crusty vomit that's on you. And it comes through using water energy. Okay? Do you swim?
Yes.
Do you swim in the lake? Swimming pool?
Yeah, mostly the lake, yeah.
Okay. Well, this is your opportunity to take that to the next level with your free will. Hot baths, saunas, anything that has water, you need to take that to a free-willed level of expression. And every time you do that and you get a patch out, you clear it up, another patch and another patch, you're free-willing the process of healing. And that is about you creating healing goals for yourself. This is where you're at. To create the healing goals, you have to know the project. So I'll associate it into car terms just because you understand that. So let's say you've got a 95 Mustang, one of those old Ford Mustangs with the hatchbacks that's got rust all over the quarter panels and the door. You got to tackle the big stuff first, and you'll do the detail work at the end. And yeah, your car is going to look all gray and Bondo, but when it's nice and done, it's going to be a sleeper, and you're going to be able to smoke people on the road. That's the goal that you want to set. So you got to take the project quarter panel by corner panel, tailgate by tailgate, door panel by door panel, change the rims on it if they're rusty. So you need to take swimming and water energy as if it were the project of getting the rust off the car. Okay? And it's not like you need to super exercise in the water. You just need to be in the water. Quite literally, just be in the water. Yeah, you can swim here or there, but you need that water energy to break down the callous hide of the nature. Now, when you're inside the water, the greatest thing you can do is express your own inner words. So let's say you go swimming in the lake or something, and you're just kind of hovering around by shore. This is your opportunity to talk to your aura, quite literally. And that is the method of coming in there with the hand sander and going to your aura with that fine detail. And this is where you express prayers. The mechanism of prayer is the hand with this piece of sandpaper that's getting the final detail so you can cover up the metal before it rusts again. Inside the water, your power of prayers is increased threefold. And prayers come in many forms. For you, it's about telling your life story to your aura. As much as you can remember. It doesn't matter if it's linear or out of time. Just start remembering things that happened in your life. What was it like the day after you got your driver's license, or the day you had your first sexual encounter? Those are the things that you're going to be speaking out to your aura, because you're bringing the power of your life to reject rust. You understand this?
Yeah.
Okay? So there's all sorts of subject matter you can bring up. And when I say prayer, you're making it sacred for yourself, because your story is yours and no one else understands it better than you. Therefore, it is a prayer in itself to tell your story to yourself in the private moments of expression.
Okay.
Do you think you could do that? You think you could be in water and tell your story to yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's not hard. I mean, what was it like after you got your driver's license? Do you remember that?
Well, it just felt like freedom. Like every teenager, I guess. Like
everything. And that's what you want. And when you bring subject matters like that and remember it, you remember your first car?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you have?
I had a little foreign car called an Opel.
Oh, I had an 88 Ford Escort. It was my first car. And the hood would rust out for no reason. And if you put oil on, just like regular oil on it, the rust would disappear.
Yeah. I didn't have mine very long. I had it for about a year. And on my way home from my senior trip, I hit a horse, and it totaled it.
You hit a horse?
Yeah. It was 10 o'clock. Jumped out from the side of the road. It was loose.
Oh. Just one of those strange moments.
Yeah, I ran right straight into it. It killed the horse, but and it didn't make me swerve and do anything. It just went straight. It kind of surprised me, but but my car was done.
Was done, totaled. Horse and car lost.
Yes, both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the types of stories you can bring up while you're in the water. You can do this when you're in the shower or the bathtub too.
That's a funny thing you mentioned that water. When I was very young, I guess it would be around walking age, 2, 3 years old, and I would throw these temper tantrums, and the way they would get me to quiet down would be to turn on the water in the tub.
Mm-hmm.
And I would stop. And I don't know why they use that mechanism, but for some reason it's just the water.
Well, the water is what's grounding you in your elemental life path right now. Okay, and that's something to key you understand. You're an elemental based person this lifetime. So the actual raw energy concepts of elements are much more amplified when you work with them.
Okay. I can do that.
All right, I've got another caller.
Alrighty.
So if you want to call in another time, please do.
All right, thanks.
Yep. 925, your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning, Andrew. This is Fremont. I'm calling from California.
Hi, Fremont. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I've been better.
So what's going on with you? How can I help you today?
Well, I talked to you a few weeks ago, probably about 4 weeks ago on a Friday, same day.
Mm-hmm.
And you had talked to me about putting some salt under my neck.
Yeah?
And I did it that one night. And I don't normally ever get depressed. First off, I wanted to say, I really enjoy your show, but I have to say that about probably 5 years ago, I probably would have laughed this off and turned off the station because it just sounded so ridiculous to me. But I've, over the course of the last few years, I've been having these dreams. I think I mentioned it to you, where they're all, it's not a place that I'm familiar with on this earth, but it's a place that I'm familiar with in the dream. And it's not a reoccurring same dream. It's a reoccurring place, and it's driving me insane. It's been going on for 10 years now.
Right.
And then that Friday when I used the salt, I went up to the hills, like you said, and I put the salt under my neck and under my shoulder blades. And, the last time that I had seen this kind of light in my eyes when I closed my eyes was when I was having a hallucinogenic experience. I literally laughed. I didn't tell anybody about this because I didn't want anybody in my family to think I was weird. So, I gathered up all the sea salt that I had and got bitched at for using up all the sea salt. But I laid down with my wife that night and put that stuff under my neck and closed my eyes, and I started seeing lights and waves of light going over my eyes like I was mushrooms or something. What the hell is that all about?
That was tuning your crown chakra and your body to your actual third eye function. And it was removing layers of negative energy that are protecting this dream world that you're constantly going in and out of. Keep telling me the rest of your experience. What else happened?
What's that?
Tell me the rest of your experience. It was retuning your body.
Yeah, well, I didn't repeat it. I just did it that one night. I woke up the next morning troubled. I don't have any idea why. And I got depressed. And let me tell you, Andrew, I don't do depressed. And for some reason, I was just walking around in a stupor. I didn't remember any dreams that night. And I ended up leaving up there early to get home because I just wanted to be home. And it's been nothing but negative energy since I got back, one thing after another. And it's like I said, it usually doesn't. It's not like that here. I have a good family life, a great family, and
well, you've already said that this dream world has been driving you insane at times. What the salt and crystal did was take the first layer of the scab off. Honestly, you need to do it every day. And the reason why I tell you to do it every day, there are several layers. You've picked this scab many times it's going to scar spiritually. And the salt is helping you understand that there were previous depressions in you were fully unaware of. And these were creating the energetic link to this dream world to lock you in that position so you wouldn't have a spiritual awakening. The depression is your body and your ego saying, I will not give up control. Because you all of a sudden had a second of control when you saw those lights.
Interesting.
I'm really, really serious. If you're experiencing all of this, you need to take it to the next level. You'll need to put one on your tailbone too. And you may need to spend at least an hour with it every day or fall asleep with it. There's so many layers to your dream time here that the first layer to understand is when you were a kid, you were actually psychically attacked multiple times. And that's why you created this dream world so that they couldn't attack you anymore. And the depression is left over from a childhood who had to be alone in his dream time when he should be communicative and cognitive of the rest of the dream world.
Wow. Okay, well, I had an out-of-body experience when I was a child, so that's the only out-of-body experience I ever had. It was like night terrors.
Yep, I know.
Yeah.
So,
and since then, actually been looking in this dream, the reoccurring dream. I've been trying to see myself in the dream, and the most I can see is my feet.
right.
So yeah.
It's really a common experience for people to see the light sparkles. And if you're really adventuresome, you can take it to the next level. And that next level is to have one on the back of your neck and then put one over your eyes. For every layer of negative emotions, there's 7 layers of positive emotions. And for every 7 layers of positive emotions, there's negative emotions. So when you right away saw those sparkles and then afterwards they were literally depressed, because you had so much positive energy from the experience, when you awoke the next day, your body's rhythms were off. So off that the controlling autopilot that gets you done every day said, I must return home. I have to go home. So it was like you were programmed to return home to get to that energy because the first layer of the scab had been cleaned and put antiseptic on it. And ultimately that means you would have had a free dream time if you had continued to do this process. And your body had been so traumatized from the previous experiences, it's saying, no, I'm rejecting this. And that's why the depression came on.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally because you had such positive energy out of it. And the body makes an opposition to that energy, especially when you go to heal. Healing is a process, not an event. It's something a lot of people really have to take into their matrix of who they are. I'm glad that you called and shared this with us, and I really, really recommend that you put one over your tailbone too.
I will. I actually got the salt out last night and set it next to the bed, and I didn't do it. And I thought if I didn't do it, I was going to have to call you this morning and give a chat. So
what was going through your mind when you said didn't do it? Were you afraid?
Maybe afraid of getting ridiculed by my wife, or I don't know. It just seems to me, I've been so closed-minded all these years. Like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, I must have started having a spiritual awakening and realizing consciousness, and that all things have consciousness. And I mean, I can't even explain it. It's so amazing to me. Like where I see a little flyer that the monks put out at telling the bugs that they were going to be exterminating the next day, and then if they didn't want to get hurt, that they had to leave the monastery. And like I said, 10 years ago, I would have laughed and said how ridiculous that is. But knowing that all things have a purpose and are conscious, even plants, and it's just it's such a turn for me. So I'm coming to grips with the spiritual side and getting away from religion, and it's just a really weird experience.
Mm-hmm. Do you read books? Do you like to read?
Yeah, that's what I thought. The problem with all these dreams were an accumulation of reading too many science fiction novels. I mean, I read just about all of the Stephen King and Dean Koontz and stuff like that, and then when I got out of that, I started reading nonfiction and read the Bible and read the Quran. And
well, all of those are expansive things. Honestly, what you need here are books that associate other people's journeys. Dan Millman, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, would very much resonate to you.
What was that again?
Dan Millman, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. It's a tremendous, fabulous book. It's been out for 20-something years. It's well over 20 million copies of this book have been sold.
The Way of the Peaceful Warrior.
Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. I think that book will truly help you understand the path that you're now on. The fact that you had the courage to put the salt on the back of your neck and then have that experience just shows how deep in the dream world you're rooted. Now, this place that you created to get yourself away from the psychic attacks has other purposes. It's where your Dreamtime communities come to communicate to you. Even though you don't remember your dreams, you're still doing things in your spirit dream mode. Your higher self has come to me and it's asking me for you to understand that there's a process of shadow, shade, and light and dark over you. Half your higher self is showing me half your face is painted white, the other half is painted black, but each opposite eye is white to black. So it's showing that you see the black and white in the world, but you don't have the middle shades of gray to balance the light and dark. So what that means is your higher spirit is literally battling the forces of light and dark so that you may maintain a balance among your personal, physical, awake time, so you may create the intent of self-expression. You had the first spark of intent when you put the salt in the bag and the crystal. Well, then when you actually did it and said, I will take whatever hit to if my wife says anything about by expressing yourself and doing it. And by doing that, after that, you had an introspective moment where the depression came because ultimately your spirit was giving you a goal. If you could do this again and again and again, you would be on a process of healing. And if you ultimately found the process of healing, you would learn why your spirit is going through a change right now. And that change is the rites of passage, where you're going from an adult physical male to being an adult physical spirit with all of its talents as fully intact. But ultimately, it's about unredacting your mind and allowing yourself to dream as an innocent child again and having that innocence in your life. It's like playing in the sandbox. When you put the salt on the back of your neck, you gotta know that you're doing it to reclaim that innocent inner child, to allow that expression of self out so that you may heal that spirit wound.
Another thing, too, I forgot to mention was that I'm a musician, and I'm basically in my music room right now, and I'm surrounded by several musical instruments, and I haven't touched them since I got back, man.
Okay. Is there a reason why?
I don't know. Like I said, depression. A bunch of crap happened. I lost my dog, and just a whole bunch of stuff. I literally...
You're in pain.
Yeah.
And that salt gave you a moment of non-pain. And sometimes people latch on pain because that's all that they have left. But you have so much more. And the reason I say you have so much more is because the true drum of understanding and the rhythm and timing in your soul is here, and it's just waiting for you to play in tune with it. It's giving you the sheet music. You've learned it a long time ago. It's just a matter of your heart playing in tune with the rhythms of earth. Wow. You lost your dog. You think you can write a song for your dog and play some music to it?
That's funny, man. I just told my wife that yesterday. I was having a moment, and I said, maybe I should write a blues song. That's funny.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The thing, too, is when I talked to you last, you had mentioned that I had been wounded, and I know that you were speaking metaphorically, purely, but the fact that you had said to put the salt on my neck was just funny because I had a neck injury. Probably about every 10 months, I ended up going to the chiropractor to get my neck adjusted. And I had just begun the preliminary experiences there of neck stiffness, and then when you had said that, it kind of lit me up a little bit. And after I had put the salt under my neck, that one positive thing that came out of it was that my neck pain went away the next day. So, yeah, I was fixing to go to the chiropractor, and I ended up not going. So.
Okay. Well, I think it's time you started doing that every day, or when you get home from work, or when you know you're going to have a period of a while of not doing anything. Put the salt bag between your pants and the back of your shirt so it's over your tailbone. You just let it be there for as many hours as you can, even if you're sitting there playing music. And then when you're ready to take a break, sit back on your recliner, put the salt under the back of your neck again, and start doing it more. Just so you know, when you experience these depressions, that's the body and the ego saying, no, we can't heal, because if we heal, we have to confront everything that we didn't confront yet. And it opens up the dams of emotions. But you have to replace that dam of emotion with the creative force. That's why you're a musician in this lifetime. That's why the drum of heartbeat of earth is here with you now, waiting for you to play in tune with it, and to rhythm with it, and to rhyme with it, and to love it, and to be a part of it. That very co-creative moment where you express all of your heart with that music. I would really like to hear you do a blues song about your dog. I mean, really, and maybe you can link it here to the forum so people could listen to it. A lot of people have really connected to their animals here. Dave at Wolf Spirit Radio just lost a wolf that he had for 10 years.
This was well, I don't know. It's just a terrible experience. I don't like it. I'm really connected with my animals, and for I guess the last 6 or 7 years, I've just been so connected to nature and becoming acquainted with the laws of nature instead of the laws of man, and it just makes so much more sense.
It does. The animals show you true love all the time.
Yeah, they're the best people so far.
And I'll tell you this, if you choose to write that song, you would be expressing true love to the spirit.
Well, I'll do that, Andrew.
Well, thank you. Any other questions today?
I think that's enough for now, man.
Sure.
I appreciate the call, and I really want to say that I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
All right, you take care and have a good weekend.
You take care, guy. .512, your name and where you're calling from?
My name's Dave. I'm calling from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Dave from Austin, Texas. How long have you been listening to the show for?
I've listened to it on and off for a few months.
Okay. So, how can I help you today?
Well, I'm just kind of calling in, and I don't know if you can listen to the show by calling in, or I called in and got a reading about a month ago, and just wanted to touch base again.
Okay. Well, how did the reading help you? Or did you find anything helpful? Share with us.
Well, the information was kind of I don't know. It hasn't really set in yet, if you know what I mean.
I understand what you mean. Did you listen to the recording of the show?
No, I haven't found how to actually do that yet.
That's why I recommend whenever you have a reading from me privately, I record it so you're able to hear it, because at times the person that's you there can't hear all the information simply because you're in that state of trying to understand what the present you is understanding.
Well, I actually, since the time of that reading, I have realized that my senses are changing a bit. I can feel the actual weather changing instantaneously now, and I wasn't aware of that so much before. And I'm realizing also I've been highly intuitive all my life, and that can be very confusing to someone that grows up in a family or an area in the world where nobody is really involved or lives that in that kind of understanding. So, my life's been, I spent many years very confused of what I was feeling and what I was thinking and why, not understanding I was reading others around me constantly. So, I'm coming to terms with that. My body is kind of the thing that I'm hoping starts catching up a little bit. I don't know if we discussed it last time, but I was in a whiplash car accident when I was about 8 years old. So my atlas and axle is off sometimes 20 degrees or more. And that causes a lot of issues, and I haven't really found someone that can. I've been to chiropractors literally probably almost 500,000 times over the last 40 years, but haven't got much relief there. So it's just the physical experience is kind of overwhelming at times. And so that's about it. No, actually, now that I think about it and I have the opportunity to express it, things are beginning to change subtly.
Okay. Did I tell you about the silver salt and sage packs to put on your neck?
Yes, you did.
Did you try that?
And I have. Yeah, I did try that, and I actually didn't feel anything.
Did you feel any sparkles around the back of your neck when you were laying down?
No.
How many times did you do it?
I did it for about a week, sometimes all day long.
Okay. Did you put one on your tailbone too, or just on the back of your neck?
Well, I used one, and I would put it in different places. I think I wore it for a while.
Okay.
In my pants on my tailbone.
Okay. You did go through a change. I'm actually reading your energies right now. I actually suffered whiplash when I was a kid also, so I do understand what it does and how it affects you long term. And much of the energies you're currently dealing with are what I call rust. And this is rust in your aura and rust on the surface edges of your skin. And what the salt does is it begins to break down that rust. And I liken it to having to do Bondo on a car. You got to sand the heck out of it and then cover it up real quick so new rust doesn't form. And what the silver salt and sage does is creates a vibratory part in your energy body that shakes the rust off and then rapidly covers it with your own energy so new rust doesn't appear on top of it. And when you see rust like pitting in a car, you understand that the metal is infected underneath. And in your situation, your actual metallic energy has rust in it. So you're in a situation where you need new metal energies in your life, and these metal energies will help begin to restore some of your metallic elemental concepts. And using the silver salt and sage is like giving somebody antibiotic soap in the 1600s. It would be considered a great effect for them. In your particular situation, the type of energies that are around you requires a purging, actually. A purging of some of the inside psychic connections you have to the pain you've had over 40 years. These memories reach back for so long that some of the rust has been sanded over, repainted, and it's kind of, I liken it in metaphor to a car that's driving around that looks like it's been bondoed and repainted, and it's just a bunch of gray spots. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Well, that's what your energy body looks like to me. And then you're in a situation where you need to purge out the rust. You need to purge out all of that concept so it heals as a complete concept. And that's going to come from you deciding what's going on with your diet, because your diet is affecting the way the rust works. This diet would probably have to only last about 3 or 4 months to put you back on a track of healing. Obviously, you understand your diet and how it affects you, correct?
Yeah, well, not really. You know, I can't admit that I do believe it, because it appears to me that it's totally insignificant to the way I feel.
Well, it is actually directly connected to the way you feel, actually. The food that you're bringing in is to maintain what you're trying to exist in. The new diet is to change the way you feel so that there's new energies, and that heals. So healing is a process, not an event, and that's what you're looking for, is a way to heal. The silver salt and sage did its function, but it only did what you allowed it to. I liken it to picking off a scab and allowing it to heal, and then washing the scab off, and then allowing it to heal until it makes a little bit of a scar. And that scar is where the rust pitting starts in you. And one of the reasons your current diet is not helping you heal is because of the energy you put into the food when you're eating it, as well as the energy you're using when you're expelling it. We are a creature of take in, put out, take in, put out. What you put in and what you put out ultimately is what feeds you, the spirit you, just as well.
Okay.
And the spirit you is going through a process of this life, death, and rebirth over and over and over again. You're constantly trying to get yourself to the next level so the pain does not limit you, so that you're a creative force of wisdom and knowledge, as well as a creative force of understanding and knowing. And to be that creative force, you have to allow yourself the vision of a healed body, the vision of a healed concept, the vision that doesn't need a person to go to the chiropractor 6 days a week or 2 days a week or 5 days a month. You need to find that personal healing that allows the stress of the muscles, the stress of the bones to be relaxed long enough so that you can recharge, re-energize, and recycle the rust particles so that you could ultimately find the inner wisdom that's within you. And this is also known as the rites of passage. You're giving yourself a class, a self-educated class that says, I want to change, I want to heal. And for that to go on, you have to accept that you're giving yourself this test. Okay? I can give you compass headings and direction settings, but it's ultimately you that has to walk the path. You can never make anyone change. They must do it on their own with all of their heartfelt will. And this is where you're at. You did the silver salt and sage, and you say you didn't get anything, but I know deep down inside you did. And I really think if you really examine it, you realize during that time that you were doing it, you were changing yourself. You were allowing yourself a little bit more energy. But it's how much that you choose to let in personally in your own inner zone of trust that hasn't anything to do with my words. It's about your zone of inner trust with yourself, that you can actually heal yourself enough so that the pain is reduced a certain percentage. That's ultimately what you're going to do, is cut the pain down 50% so you could live a life in far less pain, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, what would you personally have to do to create a zone of trust in yourself that says, I want to be on a healing process, that I want to cut my pain down by 50%?
Well, actually, I'm kind of doing it now by calling you, because I've got a friend that's reminded me of something that I've had this belief system going for a long time, that and I'm not even going to examine really what it is, but it's running the gig and it's limiting me. Okay. And just by hearing you speak of this, it's expanding that very idea that keeps me in this bondage of this belief system that these things don't matter.
Right. And that's exactly why I come on and do three separate shows on two separate networks and do about 20 hours of live radio. Because I know just by people listening, they get to do their own compass settings. And that's why I bring as many of the teachings about healing, self-understanding, zones of trust, expanding your own inner concepts, because that's ultimately how people heal themselves. They learn wisdom and then they own it. And it's not from the wisdom that somebody said, it's because you understood it and did action with it. And you're in that phase where you're taking action on the mental side, and you're just on that precipice of taking action on the physical side for a longer term goal.
Well, that's right on track. I appreciate it. And
so how about you just set a 90-day goal? And in that 90 days, the first thing you're going to do is try to change your diet. Go online and read about diet change. Okay? Then the next thing is, how much pain meds do you think you're on?
How much what?
Pain medication.
Oh, I don't take any medication at all.
Okay, you just deal with it.
Yeah, you know, it's at times it's kind of subtle. Right now, the neck is not so bad, but it's turned into a shoulder nerve that is it's devastating for a second or two. You know, then it goes away. So
right.
I'm to the point that I realize this stuff, you know, on the level that I choose to look at, it's not real. So I am dealing with it in that way. You know,
right. You're dealing it with your own inner unity. And that's something you'll have to take into your zone of trust. What does that exactly mean, your own inner unity? The unity that allowed you to call in the first time, the inner unity that allowed you to call in the second time, versus the belief system you're trying to change. And that little give and take tug of war that you're having is about ultimately achieving the wholeness that you want instead of being separate.
And I assume that you understand this, but the funny thing inside is that I think, and I'm assuming this is what happens to humanity, I think and I feel that what it is that is actually keeping me where I don't want to be is actually the best part of me. you know? So it's kind of a challenge to let, I mean, you grow up and have a life that you're different than others. And so it's this idea that you do know something that has kept me alive, Mm-hmm. So now I'm to this point to realize that I don't really know anything.
But you do know you're more than you've heard, read, or studied.
Say that again?
You know that you're more than you've heard, read, or studied.
Oh, totally. Okay. And that's the confusing that's a confusing issue of where I'm at in this time and place.
Okay.
I realize that.
So let's give this confusion some direction settings. And music is one of those great ways of giving yourself your zone of trust. Make a list of your top 10 songs. You don't have to do it now. The top 10 songs and play them. And in your own concept, use your own predictability. If you were to play your top 10 songs, would it change your current emotion? Would it put a smile on your face?
It could.
Okay. That's how easy it is to change. That's rhythm and timing. That's where what I call the drum of timing comes. It's when you consciously make a choice to change your energy so that it reflects more of your inner needs and outer needs and allows for that during a time of music playing that you can change your vibration, change your thought structures so you can ultimately understand parts of inner peace. Because when that type of music is playing, you are allowing yourself to experience the drip drop, full flow of inner peace. So here you are. How much inner peace do you want inside you? Do you want the drip drop, or do you want a full flow of a river?
No. Well, that's exactly where I'm at, and what's happening now. And my question was going to be, before you asked me a question, was going to be, it seems as if I get off this, I take this turn and go down this road, and boy, I've been there about 4 days now, 3 days, and it's like, how in the world do I can't seem to pull off sometimes and stop it. I either haven't learned that technique or it's the technique or whether everything is actually in the place it's supposed to be and what have you. But sometimes that road I'm just on it too long for my preference.
Exactly. You're on it too long. And that is the ultimate concept about healing. It's a process, not an event. It's an endurance game. Honestly. That's the tricky part about learning the shaman within. It's the tricky part about the inner child. You have to allow them all their own space to grow while you're on that path. And your goal, sometimes we set goals that are too far ahead of us or too close to us and don't allow the endurance experience to come forth so it becomes part of your everyday life so that you can grow deep roots into it. So you can give it concepts and understand that the real sacrifice is time. Giving it the time to evolve inside yourself. Giving it the inner wisdom and your outer voice out. Like letting it go to the point where you set aside 20 minutes or 30 minutes every day where you literally talk to your body and say, I am dealing with this or I'm dealing with this psychic situation. And you talk it out. So that it's just between you and the energies of the universe. And that's the sacrifice that you're just about to make. I mean, you've done it a little bit, you've done the drip drop, and you know it's there, and you know it's endurance battle, and you're questioning if you're ready to do the longer term game here.
Well, thank you for that, and that's right on track because that gives me a little bit more of a fortitude to realize that, hey, the road I'm on is shorter than I believe.
Yep. And
when
at
I do
times,
go down that path I don't want to be on.
right. And at times, we make the difficulty levels very hard on ourselves.
Yep, I got that part down.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to share with us? What's going on with you? Maybe I can help you out.
Well, that's really all of it. I've realized that I haven't been drinking enough water. I have an alkaline water machine, so I try to drink 9.5 pH water. And I just went and got me a gallon jug. I weigh about 200 pounds. I'm assuming I need to drink about a gallon a day. And I just decided to start flushing my system out. So, this is a perfect call and the perfect timing.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any extra money?
Food, I have a little bit.
You should seriously consider doing a home enema or getting a colonic. That would it would shorten your trip and allow you a lot more endurance time.
Well, here's something. I'm glad you brought that up, and I probably should have brought this up. I've been taking enemas for probably about 15 years. I think this is part of some of the psychic dilemma I've been in. My anus is very much constricted. It's about the size of my little finger. So going to the bathroom's always been a challenge. So I have been cleansing the liver daily, doing coffee enemas for quite a while. So I do perform enemas. I even put some hydrogen peroxide, 35% diluted in that. So I have been working with the.
One of the reasons your bowels are going through this, at some point you actually got a parasite that really changed the chemistry of the bacteria in your lower intestine. And what it's doing is preventing your lower intestines from actually doing their job at 100%. So you have this backup, and your body naturally restricts what can go out because it's constantly trying to digest everything. But you're in a situation where it's backing up like a freight train, in a traffic jam. And what you need to do is obviously the clearing out. But at the same time, you need to figure out how you can reprogram your intestine so that it let go of a lot more. The diet would be really, really helpful. You could prepare food and then put your energy into it in a meditation, or send your energy to it, send your intention to it. The second thing is the silver, salt, and sage. You're going to have to choose to do them more frequently. What I'm going to tell you is you're going to need to have one in each of your socks during the day. What you need to do is bring energy down to your feet. Too much of your energy is bound up into your lower intestine. And that's one of the reasons you radically lose energy. Well, have you noticed that like the energy just falls out, like you have a hole in your pocket?
Oh, yes.
All right. That hole in the pocket feeling is your lower intestine tapping into the energy reserves of your body so that it can try to process, but the actual microbes that are in there aren't there to break it down. You ever heard of Dr. Will Spencer? He's on this radio station on Wednesdays in the afternoons.
No, I haven't.
I would very much recommend you listen to his shows or some of his archives at Free Revolution Radio. He is an absolute expert at the gut and getting the gut back going. I have personally seen him. He's an outstanding allopathic doctor. And his website is bodyelectrician.com. And he gives example diets, and he has products that restart your gut microbes. And you're in that situation where you need to change the operating system of your lower intestines. You don't want to run Microsoft 3.14 anymore. You want to upgrade to who you are, the present person.
Yeah, I've already got that site up, and I'll check that out.
Yeah. So the next thing I'm going to recommend is that go and start doing the silver, salt, and sage, but at the same time, you need a piece of granite. And I'll say granite for this specific reason. Granite is one of the best tools that's made out of stone that could absorb much of the operating system and then allow the operating system to let go of some of this bloatware that it has. And what it is this overwhelming desire to process 100% of what's in your stomach. You need to cut that down and tell your stomach, no, we're going down to 70%, so I have extra energy to be creative and co-creative with myself. So you can go to a stone yard and find a piece of granite, something, the size of your hand, and when you lay down on the couch, just put it over your stomach below your belly button. And when it begins to get warm, it starts to absorb your body heat. It's bonding with you. I've treated people with Crohn's disease, blocked bowels, all of that. And it always comes down to reprogramming the lower intestine, restarting the microbes, changing the diet for 90 days. And once you begin to experience the real spurts of energy returning is when you know in the zone of your own trust you have begun the healing process and are fully in the event and the long process and journey of healing that does have an end when you choose to take 100% of your own wisdom and apply it to the process of healing in you.
So I just go get me a piece of granite.
Get a piece of granite about the size of your hand and use the silver, salt, and sage. Keep using it. What that's going to do is prevent some of your excess energies from draining directly into the lower intestine. Think of it as adding extra RAM to your body. Okay?
Explain the silver, salt, and sage to me one more time, if you would.
Okay. The silver brings metallic energy into you, and the silver doesn't.
How do I use it?
You just put a mercury dime, anything that's silver inside the salt. Okay? You can go get a mercury dime, a piece of silver, jewelry, anything. The silver is an elemental energy that prevents the pitting rust concept. By bringing that into your energy field, you'll lower the rusting effect on new parts of your body as well as old. So you'll begin to reach a plateau of creating rust. The salt.
See, I thought you told me to use crystals and salt. That's what I put in this bag.
That's fine too. Silver, when you add silver to it, it actually changes the elemental makeup. Probably what I was telling you was silver, salt, and sage. You just missed the other silver part. And then to add a crystal into that pack also, because it actually takes more information. The salt, what the salt does is returns your energy to a neutral, so it's no longer in polarity. Oftentimes our body creates polarized energy so it can go to the top of the body or the bottom of the body. It can spread into the meridians, and polarity attracts different parts of the body. What you're trying to do is eliminate the rapid fluctuation of polarity in your energy body. That's what the salt does. It stops this rapid sine wave change of energy. The crystal takes the other concepts of the silver and the salt, and it adds more memory to that capability. And then the sage, that's actually part of the plant kingdom and brings more earth energies into you. So you have earth energy, crystal energy, salt energy, and silver energy. That combination allows basically what I call is a defrag on your energy body. Okay, I use computer terms because many people understand it. Have you ever done a defrag on your computer?
I'm totally aware of what you're saying, yes.
Right. So when you see that little graphic of it putting the little bars and the little boxes in the right place, that's literally in metaphor concept of what the silver, salt, and sage is doing. It is allowing you to assemble the information so that the information doesn't have to be polarized to go and get instructions from the other parts of your body. And right now, your lower intestine is giving instructions to the body. And that's the operating system you want to change. That's what I call the Microsoft bloatware in you right now. The piece of malware.
I totally understand what you're saying. I understand what that feels like. I know what you're saying.
Okay. So this purification process is really about neutralizing what's going on in your body. So instead of using the term purify, let's use the word neutralize. Once you begin to neutralize, you're going to immunize. And as you go through this neutralizing, immunizing process is when you're going to achieve the relaxation in your gut, and you're going to stop creating more rusting pits. And as that begins to happen, a lot more of your inner energies are going to come out. And then you'll be in that situation to say, do I want to walk down the path of understanding my psychic nature? Because you'll have a lot more energy to invest in the journey.
Well, thank you very much. One more time, how do I get to your archives? I go to Blog Talk? Or I go to YouTube?
Go to Revolution. Go to YouTube and type in my name, Andrew Bartzis, or type in Free Revolution Radio. And that's the Revolution Radio home YouTube site, and that has all of Dr. Will Spencer's archives on it too. Or you can go into the main site here at Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and there's a link for archives there. And then there's a little code that you put in, and you just go by the name of the host that you're looking for.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much. I've got some work to do. I'm excited about it.
Well, thanks for calling back in and sharing, and I'm absolutely glad that I'm able to help. And if you want to call in again any other time, give me a holler. I'm here to help.
I will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Guy. Take it easy.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Here's one from Uner. Why is it sometimes so hard to make the choice to commit to living the mystical life daily? There are an infinite amount of answers to that. But in a stereotypical 50% of the people that come to living the mystical life daily, fear. The rest you couldn't break down to 50%. There's many other sub-processes there. But fear right there in that stereotypical process. Fear that if I live the mystical life daily, all the taboos that have been imprinted on me will be projected at me, and I'll start taking on those taboos. Meaning, let's say you're living the mystical life daily is to be precognition of what's going to happen next. Or somebody else's is going to be they're able to raise and lower their body temperature and it not do damage to them. You may not think that that's a huge skill. You can kill any virus if you are able to raise your blood temperature without causing damage to the liver or the cells. Zika gone, all the viruses gone, they all live at our body temperature. This is why dogs don't get so much sickness, is that they have a higher body temperature. Conversely, if you're a person that has precognition, everyone's going to want to know what you're going to do. What are you thinking about me? And then all these subtle programs take over. So those are the examples there. It is fear that the projections from others that they'll run you and confuse you. When in fact living the mystical life daily is rejecting all forms of conformity and being your authentic self at all times, so the mystical can flow as an unlimited point of view.